Want to get the ultimate face caster build? Well, today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my 1 million up to 4 million damage build with the face caster for Amara. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Esiva, this is LaserBolt and welcome to today's video, guys. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my face caster build, and boy does it wreck. With this particular build, guys, you're going to be doing up to 1 million to 4 million damage when you guys are doing the face cast, and it's actually a very powerful build. But before we get started and I share the build with you guys, I do want to remind you guys about our giveaway. We're giving away 4 free copies of Ghost Recon Breakpoint for the system of your choice. To enter and participate, it's super easy. All you have to do is click the link down below and you guys will be automatically entered. So with this particular build, guys, you're going to have really good survivability. In addition to that, you guys, you will also have a ton of damage. And plus, the weapon I'm using for this particular build is just amazing because you'll be changing elements really fast on the fly. You really don't have to use more than one weapon. So let's just dive right in and talk about the build. All right, so for this particular build, guys, we're going to be taking a look at 2 different skill trees. One is Mystical Assault, and the other one is going to be the Fist of the Element. So we're going to get started with, of course, Fist of the Element. We're going to be dumping 5 points into Anima. This is going to give us improved status effect damage. It's also going to give us a status effect duration. And our action skill status effect damage is going to get increased as well. So really good one. And as you guys see right here, I am stacked all the way to 8 out of 5. So this is really good. You want to make sure you at least get this in the 7s. In between 7 out of 5, 8 out of 5, that is where you want to be with your class mod. And I'll explain the class mod as soon as we get a little bit in there. But as you guys notice, 8 out of 5 gives me 32 status effect damage, 160 status effect duration, and action skill status effect damage is a plus 64. Next, we're going to be dumping 5 points into Tempest, and Tempest is going to give us elemental damage once again. We're going to increase that damage by 30%. And it's also going to give us extra shock damage, which is always good to have, especially for this build and the weapon we will be using. Then we're going to be dumping 5 points into Wildfire. This is actually a really good one, and what this does is, like, when you kill an enemy or shoot enemies around you, the status effect has a chance to spread to nearby enemies. Really good one to have, especially for mobbing, so it's a definitely one that you must pick up. Then we're going to be dumping 1 point into Indiscriminate. What this is going to do, it's going to give us a chance for our bullets to ricochet. And we're only dumping 1 point here because we needed that extra point to actually get the other bottom, perks. So we're just gonna be dumping 1 point here. It's always good to have it. We're also gonna be dumping 1 point into Deep Well. It's gonna increase the magazine size of elemental weapons. Really important, especially for the weapon we're gonna be using. And last but not least, guys, as far as this bro is concerned, we're going to be dumping a total of 3 points into Cataris. And what this is going to do is that when Amara triggers an elemental effect, it's going to make that enemy explode. It's going to be very good once again for mobbing as well. And we're also going to be dumping a total of 2 points into Sustainment. What this is going to allow you to do, it's going to allow you to gain a lifesteal whenever Amara deals elemental damage. And since we're doing a lot of elemental damage, this is going to be giving us a lot of lifesteal, helping us with survivability. Since we're already here, guys, we're going to be going ahead and picking up the Soulfire, which converts Amara's action skill to incinerate damage. And we're going to be picking up Allure. What this does, it creates a singularity. Pretty much, it's kind of like a big black hole that pulls in enemies. So it's actually a really good one to have. Really effective for mobbing as well. All right, so now it's time for us to dive into the Mystical Assault tree. Now, we're going to start off with 5 points into Do Harm. This is going to be really cool, but what this is going to do, it's going to give us rush stacks. And when we consume these rush stacks, when we use our action skill, it's going to increase the damage of our action skill depending on how many rush stacks we have. And since we will be using our action skill very frequently, it's going to be very important to have this one equipped. Then we're going to be dumping a total of 5 points into Violent Tapestry, which technically gives us that rush stack. And the way we're going to be able to activate this is by applying a status effect. And since the weapon we're going to be using is going to be applying a lot of status effect, and we're just going to be doing a lot of status effect, it's going to increase our rush stacks, making this very potent and synergizing perfectly with Do Harm. Then we're going to be dumping a total of 5 points into Restless. It's going to reduce the cooldown time that we're able to use our action skill. Very important. Once again, I said we're going to pretty much be spamming our action skill, so this is a very viable option. Then we're going to go with Ascendant. What this is going to do is that all action skill augments gain increased effect. So pretty much all your action skill augments are going to be buffed. Then we're going to be dumping 1 point into Laid Bare. Enemies take increased damage from all sources for a few seconds after being damaged by Amara's action skill. It's just going to give us incendiary damage, which is really good and very potent for the majority of the enemies, especially those ugly looking red bars. Then we're going to be dumping 3 points into Wrath. Amara gains increased gun damage. And what's cool about this is that this effect will be getting increased after she uses her action skill. So it's going to give us gun damage plus 20, but after our action skill is done, it's going to give us another plus 20 damage. That's plus 40 right there, since we're going to be using our action skills quite a lot. Then we're going to be dumping 3 points into Remnant, and this is the one that's going to be very important, and this is how you're going to be getting that 1 mil to that 4 mil damage, because when you kill an enemy and that projectile bounces off, that projectile has a lot of damage, and since we're applying a status effect to a lot of enemies, you're going to be able to do 1 million to up to 4 million just off the projectile itself. So this is really, really OP, and you want to be triggering this as much as you can. Then we're going to be picking a total of 2 points to Awakening. So what this is going to do, it's going to make Amara's rush stack increase effectiveness. So really good one. Since we are going to be stacking a lot of rush, it's always good to buff it as much as we can. Last but not least, guys, we're going to be dumping 1 point into Avatar, and this is the capstone for Amara in the Mystical Assault Tree. And what this is allowing you to do, it's going to kind of let you spam that action skill. So you're going to be able to use it without your bar even being full, so it's actually a really good one to have. And that is pretty much the whole build put together. Now let's take a look at our gear and tell you guys what I recommend and what you guys should be looking for. Alright, so as far as our gear is concerned, we're just going to be focusing on this weapon right here, which is called the Star Tsunami, and this is actually a really good one. Now, I don't have the perfect anointed one, but what you guys are going to be looking for is for this particular weapon, and you guys want to make sure that your anointed perk gives you the buff after you use your action skill. So the one I have says on an action skill, and the next 2 magazine sizes will have a 50% additional bonus incendiary damage. That's actually pretty good. But the one you want here is the one that says on action skill and splash damage is increased by 125 for a short period of time. That is the one you guys want on this weapon in particular. Now, if for some reason you don't have this weapon, I am going to recommend a couple of other weapons for you guys. Let me just go to my inventory right here. And the ones I want to recommend for you guys are the following. So you could go with your regular SMGs, the ones that everybody loves, like the Crosser and all that stuff. But ones that I want to recommend is the Love Machine is actually pretty good. You have the Adapting Train Hellfire, which is another really good one. And one that I've been trying to find right now, which is the Western Gun, but I'm trying to get the binary one. I don't have the binary one. If any of you guys have the binary one on PC, if you guys would love to share that with me, make sure you guys hit me up on Discord and share the wealth. But those are the ones I recommended. Now, this one in particular is going to be your #1 weapon for mobbing and killing anything that appears your way. What's interesting about this weapon is that it's really effective against any name enemies, and it's actually really good. I'm going to have a separate video going over this weapon, and I'll let you guys know exactly how potent this weapon is, but that's the one I want to recommend. Alright, so now onto the shields. Now for the shields in particular, I went with the Transformer. I really like the Transformer, but there are multiple options for this one. It doesn't really have to be the Transformer. It could be the Transformer, the Recharger, the Gap one. Those 3 are actually the ones that I would recommend. Basically, the way I would factor is I would look for anything that actually helps me out with an anointed buff for my Phasecaster, and that's how I would differentiate which one to pick and which one not to pick. So either of those 3 will work really well. Alright, so now it's time for us to talk about our class mod, which is what brings almost this whole build together. And for those of you who have been using the Phasecircer for quite a while, you guys know that this is a really OP one. For those of you who haven't, and this might be your first time ever taking a look at this build, basically what this is going to do, it's going to allow Amara to gain the max rush stack. And what's also cool about this class mod is that we're also going to be gaining a plus 3% weapon damage, but 10% of the action skill cooldown rate is based on the number of rush stacks. So remember, since we already kind of technically have the max stack of rush stacks, we're going to always be proccing that, so it's going to make us get our skill very fast. Now, the only thing I would change from this particular build that I have right now, as you guys see, I'm running an SMG. I wish that that plus 31 assault rifle damage was plus 31 SMG damage. I do like the splash damage on here. Another thing I would probably look for this particular build is for a Mallywang, buff, like maybe a plus 20 Mallywang weapon and SMG. That would be golden for this particular build if I'm pairing it with this weapon. But other than that, the main thing you want to make sure you look for is that you have 3 or 2 to Anima, which is going to give you that nice boost. So that's what you want to make sure you're looking for when you're taking a look at a class mod and deciding which one to go with. All right, so now for our artifact, guys. Our artifact, what you're going to want to do, if you're running this weapon, it doesn't really matter which bonus damage you go with, as long as you look for an artifact that gives you bonus damage to a specific element. So that could be corrosive, that could be incendiary, it could be shock, whatever you guys want to go with. That is what I would recommend. But me personally, I always prefer incendiary, just because when I'm doing, late game content, I'm always running into those red bars or anointed enemies, and I want to melt them as quickly as I possibly can. So that's why I go with this one. So it doesn't really matter in specific which artifact to go with. The way you would decide which one to pick is to figure out which element you want to go with, and also figure out which flavor text has a lot of help for this particular build. Anything that buffs your elements is going to be key for this one, so that's what I would pick when it comes to an artifact. Now, as far as the grenade is concerned, I'm running a Merv Hex. Now, this is not the one I would recommend. I just was a little bit lazy to transfer the one I had from my other character in here, but you're looking for the Merv Hex that instead of spawning 3 Merv Hex grenades, it spawns 6. That is the one that's really, really OP. So that's what you would pick for a grenade. And yes, you want it to be cryo. The reason why is that this is going to allow you to kind of manage different mobs. If you're getting overwhelmed by mobs, or you just want to keep mobs at bay, you're going to want to make sure you're freezing enemies in place. So this is going to be a very effective grenade for that particular type of thing. But there you guys have it, guys. This is my face casting elemental build for Amara. I do hope you guys did find this video helpful and enjoyable. If you did, and you are going to try this build, let me know in the comment section down below. I also like to hear you guys' feedback. If there's something in this particular build that you would change or do a little bit different, let me know in the comment section down below as well, and I will catch you guys on the next video.